Hello and welcome to the Blockchain Startup Show. I'm Pooja Jain. Today on the show, we have a company that has gained recognition for its open source platform designed to empower developers in creating and deploying decentralized applications and enterprise-grade blockchain solutions. Ava Labs, as it's known, is a prominent blockchain technology company which is rapidly growing in the blockchain industry. At the core of Ava Labs' offerings is the Avalanche platform, which distinguishes itself with a unique consensus protocol which provides high levels of security, decentralization, and scalability. One of the notable features of the Avalanche platform is its ability to support a wide range of custom blockchains, thereby accommodating various use cases and industries. Well, we have just scratched the surface of this evolving platform. But to know more about this innovative platform, please join me in welcoming the head of India for Ava Labs, Devika Mittal. Devika, welcome to the Blockchain Startup Show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Pooja.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Ava Labs as well as about the Avalanche protocol?
So Avalanche is a smart contract platform in the blockchain space. It is the fastest smart contract platform, and it aims to scale infinitely for any number of use cases, such as institutional or for the consumer space. Ava Labs actually is an entity that supports the growth and development of the Avalanche protocol. Avalanche itself is an open source platform, and Ava Labs' goal is really to promote the growth and development of the ecosystem, promote the growth of blockchain, as well as push the boundaries of the blockchain technology in the world.
So what drives and motivates the team at Ava Labs? What's your mission and underlying vision?
We have two key missions and visions for Ava Labs. The first is, as I said, really driving the growth and development of blockchain technology in the world. We believe that we have some of the smartest smart contract developers in the world working at Ava Labs, as well as some of the smartest other smart contract developers contributing to the open source protocol from across the world. Our aim really is to think of the possibilities that Avalanche as well as the blockchain ecosystem can really derive and grow from, and to be a part of that story. And secondly, our vision is really to create an equitable system across the world and use technology to do so. As we've seen when we use blockchain technology, there is immutability in the transactions, there's transparency, and there's security. And our goal is really to empower institutions as well as students, users, developers, anybody in the world to leverage this technology in a very fast, scalable, and easy way to serve their goals.
Can you dive a little deeper into Avalanche and its traction among both users and developers?
So we have more than 1,000 validators on our network, which is the largest number of any network currently in the blockchain space. Just this last week, we had more than 6 million transactions on the network, which is a huge number if you think about just how much information is stored within even one transaction. In terms of volumes, we have more than a $3 billion market cap, and we have more than 200 plus apps that have been developed on the Avalanche network. We have more than 500-600 developers currently developing apps on the Avalanche network, as well as millions of users who are using these apps as well as the Avalanche network directly.
What are some interesting use cases that you've built on Avalanche?
Avalanche is a layer 1 blockchain, which means that any number of use cases can be built on Avalanche, whether that's DeFi, that's gaming, that's traditional finance, that's institutional use cases, that's any number of apps that a developer wants to build. Avalanche really has it all, truly. But what I can do maybe is I can highlight some interesting use cases that we've had recently in the institutional space, just to show you the power of Avalanche and how we work with institutions across the world as well as developers. So, one of the early interesting use cases we've had recently is that we're working with the global financial institution KKR, and we're tokenizing actually part of their $4 billion healthcare growth fund on the Avalanche seed chain. So what that means is that really, their real world assets are now being tokenized on Avalanche, where they can trade them freely, they can store them freely, and they can really transact across these real world assets in real time in a very fast and easy way. So that's one really cool use case that we're having. The other product that we built is Evergreen, which is a set of subnets that's specifically tailored to institutions and really helps with financial services and financial institutions. So for example, if you're a Bank of America or if you're a Bank of Baroda and you want to transact in real time with another bank or even within your own bank, you can use our Evergreen subnets. What that does is you're just using the technology that we built, but really you own the security, you own the data, and you own whatever happens in your subnet in a truly immutable as well as independent way. And another interesting use case that I really love is in Korea. we're working with one of the largest institutions in Korea known as SK Planet that does a lot of ticketing for events in Korea to put all of their transactions for ticketing on the blockchain. So someone in Korea who's using SK Planet will never have the issue of, I bought the ticket, but I didn't get it, or I bought the ticket and there was a forgery, or I transferred the ticket to someone and now they aren't able to get into the concert. Those are some interesting use cases. We're also working with various different governments from across the world on projects, whether that's land use, that's vehicle registration, or even things like marriage certificates. And of course, in the consumer space, we have more than 200 dApps that are built on Avalanche. And by that, what I mean is projects specifically often in decentralized finance or in gaming. Within gaming, we have some of the largest gaming studios in the world building projects with us and on Avalanche, really to grow the freedom that users have to make money off the games. So traditionally, when you play a game, you spend all of this time on a game and you have nothing really to show for it other than, I reached level 40, for example. But on Avalanche, on in blockchain in general, when you're playing a game, you really own your data and your growth and everything that you win in the game. So, for example, if you win a card in the game or if you win a skin in the game, you're able to transact that and trade that for real monetary value. So those are some interesting use cases that we're building on Avalanche.
What differentiates Avalanche from other layer 1 and layer 2 chains?
To clarify, there's two different kinds of, I would say, main blockchains in the world. The first is layer 1s, as you've said, and the second is layer 2s. So layer 1 blockchains like Avalanche, like Ethereum, or like Solana, their main key differentiator and their role is that they build the core technology that platforms can build on, that developers and institutions can build on across the world. Layer 2s are specifically often to Ethereum, and they are protocols that came up because Ethereum was not able to solve the needs of the population. So it was maybe too slow or it was too expensive. And layer 2s, what they do is that they do a lot of the transactions on their network and then they send it to Ethereum later. So to answer your question about the core differentiators within layer 1s, Avalanche really differentiates itself in two main ways. One is our consensus mechanism. Our consensus mechanism is different because it allows transactions to be faster than any other transactions on any other layer 1s, even Ethereum, without having to be centralized. And the second is that we have subnets, as I've mentioned. Subnets are systems that we've created in place where you can spin up your own blockchain using Avalanche's technology. So that's quite different from most layer 1s out there. So we're, arguably the fastest, the most secure, and the most versatile layer 1. In terms of layer 2s, as I've mentioned, they actually do a lot of the transactions offline or in their layer 2 and then send them to Ethereum. What that does is that it's actually centralizing a lot of the data and the security on the layer 1 without leveraging that community and realize the network of layer 1. So when you compare us to a layer 2, we're a lot more secure and often we're still faster.
Scalability is a critical factor in blockchain adoption. So how does Avalanche handle scalability and what are its plans for future scalability improvements?
So as you've mentioned, scalability is a key concern and feature for us in Avalanche. When we think about scalability, we're really leveraging our subnet architecture to create the most scalable blockchain. So when you think about, scalability, you're thinking about how many transactions you can have per second and how quickly those transactions are closing, so specifically with transactions per second and also what is the throughput. When you look at Avalanche and the way that we're setting up the subnet architecture, we are scaling without risking our transaction per second or our security. So with subnets, you actually can have hundreds of different blockchains running at the same time on Avalanche, all having the same transactions per second without any congestion on the network, while maintaining the low gas fees that we have. So when you really look at the subnet architecture we have, and we're also further building a hyper SDK upgrade, which will further boost our transactions per second to, I believe, something around 175,000 transactions per second, which will be the highest in all networks available. That is really how we're thinking about scalability, which is creating systems that empower other users and other institutions to develop their own blockchains in a way that's fast, secure, and of course, as you said, scalable.
How does Avalanche ensure the security and integrity of its network and assets?
So when you think about security, the key concern often with security in layer 1 blockchains is the number of validators, and if there can be any issue with the validator subset or how transactions are validated. Often when there's a hack, it happens because a transaction was validated inaccurately. So, you have only $100 in your account, and you somehow try to send that same $100 to two different people. And if I accidentally validated both $100 transactions, now the network is down $100, but you basically scammed the network of $100. The way that we look at security is we look at our consensus mechanism, and the way that we've set up our consensus mechanism. We are, unlike other layer ones, not a proof of stake, nor a proof of consensus, but we have a hybrid mechanism where we have more than 1,000 validators, one of the largest numbers in any layer ones. And then for each transaction, we take a random subset of those validators to validate the transaction. We have a lot of complex mathematical procedures that, Dr. Goon, who's one of the founders of Avalanche, can definitely talk to, that we use with computational algorithms to ensure that each network is validated by a different subset of validators, but all 1,000 validators are being used so that there is no fraud in the system. So when you think about it that way, we arguably are the most secure layer one. And we're constantly improving our mechanisms to make sure that security is not a concern for our users.
Devika, how do you aim to address regulatory challenges and promote global acceptance of this platform?
Just to clarify, Ava Labs is not Avalanche, the token. We are the entity that supports the growth and development of Avalanche, the blockchain network. So when you think about regulation, and when you think about what's happening the world over, there is a distinction to be made between blockchain as a technology and cryptocurrencies as tokens. So, Pooja, when you look at government regulations and the conversations about regulations coming up, as we've said, there is a distinction between blockchain as a tech and cryptocurrencies as tokens. When you look at the conversation of blockchain as a technology, even in India, governments are actually quite pro-blockchain as a technology. Our own, Ministry of IT has a center of excellence for blockchain technology, and various state governments like Telangana as well as Goa, amongst many others, are launching their centers of excellence and launching POCs on blockchain. Because blockchain really helps actually solve a lot of real world problems that we have, whether that be it in government institutions or elsewhere. The question of regulation really then is about cryptocurrency tokens. I personally am quite pro cryptocurrency token regulation. And the reason for that is that I do believe that consumers, especially those that may not be as well informed, should be supported through the regulatory system. Avalanche as a network and AVAX as a token, we've always been very in line with the regulation. We've always followed regulation. We are not a security in any country. And we truly are an open source protocol that's a nonprofit. So, I do believe that the industry is going to head towards regulation, and we are fully in support of it.
On that note, let me take a quick break, but on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Devika Mittal and learn more about Ava Labs and its contributions to the blockchain space. Welcome back to the Blockchain Startup Show. This week, we're featuring Ava Labs, a company that provides an open source platform for the creation and execution of decentralized applications and enterprise blockchain solutions. What role do you feel India has to play across the Web3 industry?
I believe that India actually has a very critical role to play in the Web3 industry. And I will say that's for 4 key reasons. Because India really, has all of these 4 ingredients that we need. So the first is, of course, government institutions. India, being one of the largest democracies in the world, and having some of the largest, young population in the world, whatever the government will decide in terms of blockchain technology, as well as cryptocurrency regulations and adoption, those ripples will be felt all over the world. The second, of course, is institutions. Indian institutions have, real world problems that blockchain can be a solution to. And I believe there's a large market there for blockchain tech to get in there to support those initiatives. Thirdly, we have the users. As I've said, as we all know, India has one of the largest populations in the world, the largest youth population in the world, the largest mobile using population in the world. And those users are looking for innovative key solutions and ways to, really monetize on their time and their efforts in a way that blockchain plugs in. And then lastly, developers. India has the largest developer base in the world, and that's only growing. The question is, can Web3 as an industry upskill these developers, train them in blockchain skills, and really help them grow the ecosystem? So I would say India is quite overall a very important industry and a very important nation for Web3.
How does Ava Labs see India as a market?
We are very, very bullish on the Indian market. As you see, they've hired me as well as a team in India to launch our efforts in India and really invest in the Indian market. When we think about the Indian market, as I've alluded to, we're really looking at four things, but really three key things. The first is working with government agencies. I am a proud Indian citizen, and I do see the problems that we've had that blockchain can solve as a nation, whether that is, record keeping, whether that's, I've lost my license, and how do I get another one, and where is my record, or that's any sort of systems of registration. Blockchain really plays a key role, and I hope that Ava Labs can help grow Avalanche or just blockchain more generally in India for those use cases. The second is institutions. India has a lot of key major international institutions, whether that's Tata, whether that's Reliance, whether that's Infosys, and many others as well. And we're really hoping to work with these large institutions to spin out some POCs that leverage blockchain, whether that's in supply chain management or that's in micropayments or any other use cases. And then lastly, I'm very, very keen on the developer ecosystem, as I've worked in tech for the last 12 years. And, when I look at the tech talent in India, I'm absolutely blown away by it. I just had a cousin who is starting to, code in Solidity instead of coding in, say, like Java or C++ or, Python, which is absolutely amazing when you think about it. And for Ava Labs, our developer ecosystem is a big focus for us. We're really looking to make investments in upskilling young developers, whether that's in universities, whether those that have graduated and are looking for opportunities in Web3, or it's developers that are already in the space and are just looking for new talent or new skills. So it's a very big focus for us. So we're really focusing on, I would say governments, institutions, as well as our developer ecosystem.
So Devika, do you see India as more of a developer powerhouse or from an institutional onboarding point of view?
Well, when you think about whether India is a developer powerhouse or an institutional play, you really have to ask the question of like, what are you optimizing for? And in an ideal world, we're optimizing for both. And what I mean by that is, when you look at developers, it's more about the numbers. India has such a large developer population, the largest developer population. And it is, of course, going to be a developer powerhouse going, many years down the line. And that is a space that we would love to play in. That's a space that we would love to grow Avalanche in and really teach people the values and the benefits of developing on Avalanche. At the same time, of course, Indian institutions are quite large and powerful, have real immediate use cases. And that is a focus for us as well. So I think it's really about, are you focusing on the number of developers or smaller number of institutions with larger use cases? I would say currently it's a bit of both, but I would say maybe in the short term, we're focusing on institutional partnerships while educating developers and hoping that in the medium and long term, there are developers actually building on Avalanche. India is a very important market for Ava Labs, and we are looking to invest in the Indian market quite heavily, both in terms of our presence as well as the efforts that we have. And we are continuing to have a lot of different efforts for developers, whether that's at the technical universities in India or it's in cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, and Delhi. From an institutional perspective, we will be working with a lot of large partners to deploy the Avalanche protocol and Ava Labs' technology of Ava Cloud and Core in India. And, we will continue to give you any updates as they happen.
Where do you see blockchain development going in India over the next 2 to 3 years?
So in the next 2 to 3 years, I really see the blockchain ecosystem blowing up in India. A lot of that coming off the heels of the G20 summit that just happened. As you might know, during G20 and post G20, India and the G20 nations came together to discuss blockchain and cryptocurrency and discuss having a coordinated effort around regulating and managing the space. What this does as well is shows blockchain companies and blockchain developers that blockchain as a tech is not being banned, and blockchain as a tech has real use cases that the country understands and is eager to explore. What I see happening off the heels of this is that a lot of developers will be keen to develop on blockchain and will be looking for opportunities and educational opportunities as well as professional opportunities to engage in the space. Young college students are going to be educated about, what the use cases can be. They're going to be getting access to international funding. They're going to have access to international training, international incubators. And what I really see is that ecosystem growing as a whole. On the other side, on the user side, I also see blockchain adoption increasing tremendously in India in the next 2 to 3 years, specifically in the gaming space. Gaming is one of the easiest ways for users to get into blockchain technology. You're playing a game on your phone, and on the back end, it just happens to be blockchain. And then at the end of the game, you learn that you can actually trade what you've earned in the game. That I feel like will have a lot of use cases in India. And as the user population in India starts getting more comfortable with having, crypto backend tools like a crypto wallet or blockchain wallet, I do see that growing exponentially. And some of the reasons for that is that India traditionally did not have a large gaming developer population. That's changing. And when there are Indian developers building Indian games for Indian audiences, I can foresee that a lot of the Indian audiences will be jumping at a chance to play these games. And grow their own ecosystem.
What would be your advice to founders building in the Web3 space?
So if you're a founder looking to enter the Web3 space, I would really encourage you to look for educational opportunities and opportunities to test your talent. So Ava Labs, we will be hosting a lot of hackathons across India. We will be hosting meetups. We will be hosting educational opportunities. So please come by, stop by, learn about Avalanche, learn about blockchain technology. And if you have an idea, participate in the hackathons, participate in the VC incubators, talk to all of the people you can meet in the industry. I believe the industry is quite open. Everybody is very friendly. And at Ava Labs, we're all quite open and friendly. So please feel free to reach out to us. And we're happy to support that journey in any way possible.
Devika, it was a pleasure speaking to you and learning about Ava Labs today. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap on yet another episode of the Blockchain Startup Show. This is Pooja Jain signing off.